What's up, everybody? The Bad Spotter's in the garage today, and we are working on taking some of these 3-inch air bumps from Radflo, adding a spacer and getting them down to about 1.5 inches, just to create a little extra clearance on the back of the red TJ. A little backstory: I've had these bumps for about 2 years now and have not installed them. I will say they look a little worse for the wear after rolling around in the toolbox, and I've had a heck of a time getting them apart. So I've tried a lot of different things, but just recently I was able to get the right tools, pull one of them apart. So today we're going to walk through the other one, and hopefully this helps some folks out. And if you got any questions, drop them in the comments. Otherwise, let's get to it. So part of my problem with disassembling these was just getting the right tools. And so a couple of things that I grabbed recently to make this possible. First, you got to have a good set of soft jaw covers for your vise. I will say I chewed these bump stops up by not using soft jaws because they were so tight when I tried them recently. So use a set of soft jaws. It'll save the body of the shock of the air bump or the shock, whatever you're disassembling there. The other thing too, I've got in my hand here, the spanner tool. So this is an OTC universal spanner tool, and it comes with different insert sizes, which is really nice because the Radflo has a larger size on the top and a smaller size on the bottom when it comes to disassembling these hydraulic bumps. So with that, the best way to start is just to get your shock into the actual vise. So once I had the bump locked in the vise, I went ahead and made sure I had the right insert for my spanner tool here. And that made it a lot easier just to get enough leverage on the actual top of the bump. Now, one thing Radflo does, and probably most of them are going to do, they actually use red Loctite here. These threads are about 1.5 inches deep. So what I had to do was put heat to this to break that red Loctite free. Once I did that, it still took some force, but it made it a heck of a lot easier. And that really was my big hang up and issue the last few times I've tried to disassemble these without the right tools. Wrong insert size here on my spanner tool, and then I did not heat these up. You want to be careful you don't heat them up too far because there is that fluid in there, but if you heat this top, put a little heat around it, wait a second, put a little heat around it, it'll actually break that red Loctite free. So once I got the spanner tool fully seated in there, once I had that Loctite broken free, it was just a couple quick twists, and then from there we could actually twist the whole top off. Every air bump might be a little bit different depending on your brand, but most of them are going to have a setup like this from the top where you're going to twist it off, and then from the bottom where you're going to remove the cap in order to drop the actual bump out from the bottom. So once we get our top off, then we're going to kind of jump back over to the bench here and dump out our fluid. Now, I tried to be as careful as I could here because you can see the red Loctite that's around here, and you want to get as little of that actually into the bump as you can. So just a little wipe, and then we'll use a little brake clean to clean it off afterwards. Guys, I'm not a professional shop, so my stuff's probably not as clean as what you want it to be. A little O-ring in the bottom of there. And once you got it out, cap's off. You can see from there, there's that red Loctite I mentioned. O-ring's in good shape. We didn't melt the O-ring or anything. So we'll set this aside, clean this off, and then we'll go ahead from there and dump out our oil. Once I've got my fluid drain, I'm going to go ahead and pull that top nut off here. I took it back over to the vise and broke it loose. That's just a 3/4, and that should be the same for just about everybody. Maybe I broke it loose. Maybe not. There we go. So once I got that broken loose, I like to push it back up as far as I can just to make it easier to get. I'm just going to twist that nut off in there. It's really important when you take this apart that the stack that's in here of shims and valving goes back in the same way that it came out. So you'll see there's a bunch of different sizes in there. We want to make sure that when we put that back together, those small ones go in the right spot and that we don't mix that around because that all has to do with the valving that's in there. So what I typically will do is take a punch, screwdriver, something like that, line that up, and then just knock those down here as I push this out. You can see it going down inside. When we get near the bottom, the shaft starts to get shorter, so that's when I like to take my screwdriver, kind of place it in the center. So once I got the nut off from the inside, you got to keep that stack in the inside all in the same order. And so what I'll do is just slowly pull that out and make sure that we don't move anything around. Then I'll take a screwdriver, run down in there to keep the shims all in the same order. So we've got our actual ram removed. Then inside here, we've got a stack of shims. We're just going to take this screwdriver and run this down. And then from there, we'll screw our bottom cap off. Now you can start to see that spacer that's inside there. We're going to get that out here in just a second. Oftentimes what I like to do is take a punch as well, maybe like a brass punch from the inside. Ta-da. So that's our shim stack there that we've got for this. This is the small spacer I was talking about. And we're going to replace that spacer with a one made of steel that you can see is roughly, it's right at 1.5 inches longer. Now I'm going to clean this up, make sure the edges aren't sharp, make sure this flows. But what that's going to do is that's going to limit that stroke of that ram. So now you've got 1.5 inch bump stop instead of 3 inch. So when you're cruising down the road or on a high speed on a trailer, you're not constantly bumping. It gives it a little more travel before it gets into that bump. And for the slower wheeling, rock crawling we do, that's still plenty of travel in a bump stop. All right, so let's lay our parts out here. We got the tube of our air bump. We got the actual bump itself, captive nut, that spacer we're going to replace, the bottom cap, and then our shim stack with our wipers and everything else. What I like to do with this is I just like to take that, put that all in just that order that it's in, and leave it right there. All right, we cleaned up our shim, just took some of the surface off and then made sure all the edges were clean. I'm going to run a microfiber towel through it, make sure we got all the junk out of the inside. I also sprayed it out with some brake clean. And then what we'll do is the last step. Yeah, that's much better. We'll just take a little oil and just cover it with a little bit of oil here, just to make sure that when it slides over, it's spaced right. Okay. The other spot I like to check when I pull these apart too is that wiper in there. So oftentimes, especially if you're using them a lot, the wiper might get a little dirt around it. So I'm going to knock that off with some brake clean too. We'll take our microfiber, just clean that edge. Oh yeah, nice little bit there. Flies are killing me here in the shop. I'm going to take a little more oil and just run along our wipers here so when we put our ram piece back in there, we don't tear any wiper up. I did notice on this one at some point, you can barely see it there. I nicked that, so hopefully that doesn't damage our wipers. If it does, we'll have to order a new one of these. Okay, so now assembly is just in reverse. So we take that spacer, drop that spacer in, that slides over that edge. When I put this back together, I'll typically do it in stages so that we don't drop all the valving in there. So the first one we've got is that large flat washer, sits on the top. Then we've got another small shim stack. So I'm going to take this shim stack and just set it here to the side. And we've got another small shim stack there. So we'll take that small shim stack, slide that over like that. I had to pause for a second there because when I first looked at that, I thought I put that in backwards, but I went back and checked the footage. We're good. So then we'll put our other insert in. And then the final step is that last pack of shims here. So once we got that all in place, we'll put the captive nut back on the top. And I'll take it over to the vise and lock that down. And so now you can see it's all fully assembled back in there. So the last thing I'll do, oh, I messed up already. Ah, this is real world. This cap has to go back on before you put that whole stack in there. Let's go back and redo it. So I'm sure most everybody noticed that I accidentally left this ring on the bottom off of the bump and then reassembled the entire thing. So I did have to disassemble it, did have to put that back in. Hey, this is a real world show. I'm an amateur to the fullest, and this is something I do for fun. So I love documenting my screw ups, my successes, and everything in between. So leave a comment with when you noticed it, because obviously it was before I did. But just to finish things off, what we're going to do is we're just going to take and dump our oil back in now. We're going to leave that spacer out since we replaced that with that larger spacer. But we're just going to add our oil back in here. Try and get that to where y'all can see that. One of the things I should have said too is when I do this, it's easier if you push down on that stack to make a little room for all the oil that needs to go. So now that I've got the bump fully extended, it'll be a heck of a lot easier to fill that oil the rest of the way. And we'll just top this off with some nitrogen gas once we put them in. All right, so we're pretty full now. Let's see the oil that's in there. We're gonna go ahead and put a couple drops of blue Loctite on this. I don't think the red is. I think the red's a little overkill personally. So I think just a little bit of blue on here on each side will be just fine. Then we'll get our spanner tool and we will put it back in the vise and lock it back down. That does have that O-ring, so it's kind of nice at times to take a little oil on that O-ring just to make sure that it slides in there. I find it easier to turn the body to get it started. On the other one, when I did it, it took me a little bit because turning the top, it was hard to get it lined up straight. But turning the body and then the top. Okay, let's take it back over to the vise and we'll get her tightened all the way down. All right, so back here at the bench, we've got the tops tightened down. I'm gonna swap the ends in my tool here and put in the smaller ends so I can tighten down the bottom caps as well. But that's basically it. From here, we'll just put it into the pinch setup. We'll charge them with some nitrogen, and now we'll finally have Radflo air bumps on all four corners. So thanks for watching this. Hopefully this helped. Drop a comment if you got questions, and get out there, do some wheeling.